Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second-guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. You read the title of today's episode and you were like, wait, what? Leanna's breast implants? I am sure a couple of you were thinking, why the heck would she decide to do that? Well, the year was 2014 and I had been thinking about getting breast implants since I was 15. I was never a part of any other club other than the itty bitty titty committee. And I have always had quite a curvy body. And I always felt since I was very young that like my chest didn't match the rest of my body. And come 2014, I was just fed up with it. And I had been thinking about it for 10 years of my adult life. I was 28 years old and I was like, I'm doing this. I found a fabulous doctor in Banff plastic surgery at the time. I don't think that she's practicing anymore. I think she traded her practice or something like that. And the doctor that's there now, I've heard, is not the best. But I met with this doctor and she was very respectful, she said it could be very natural. I felt very good about it. And I truly just got implants because I felt like my breast didn't match the body that I had. And it actually was one of the best things I ever did. But I have been thinking about getting them removed for quite some time. And I wasn't emotionally ready until this year. So today I want to talk about, what's occurred and why this topic is deeply personal. I've actually really struggled with how to share this because I'm concerned that people with ill intentions will reach out to me and say hurtful things, truly. And I'm pretty capable of dealing with hurtful things when it comes to, my faith, my marriage. But other than that, I'm a pretty sensitive little flower. And so I'm always pretty nervous sharing like deeply, deeply personal content. And this is massively one of them. I know that many of you have either had implants or have thought about having implants, or maybe you have implants right now and you're thinking about removal. I just want to set a dialogue of somebody who I feel like looks at implants in a very balanced way, especially in the functional medicine space where everyone just says, take them out, rip them out, like do whatever you can. I don't think that is the solution for everyone. I got my implants in 2014 and I've been fine. They've been fine. I healed really well. I have enjoyed every minute of them. I had capsular contracture in 2019 and I've developed pretty severe capsular contracture in the last 6 months or so. That's just made my one breast pretty uncomfortable, which has definitely influenced my decision a little bit. Like it comes and goes depending on what's going on. I find stress makes it feel worse, interestingly enough. But today I just want to set the tone for this conversation. Now, I am about 2 months out from getting them removed. So once I do have them removed, I will share what I did, how I prepared, all of those things. I have quite an extensive amount of research because I've taken many clients through breast implant illness and breast implant recovery and removal and all that stuff that I have quite a lot to say about this. And so, yeah, let's just get into it. I chose to get implants in 2014. My mindset was on point. I'd been thinking about it since I was, like I said, 15, 16. And so I'd been thinking about it for 12 years. This was not an overnight decision. It was not so that I could flaunt my body or anything. It's that I am a size 10, 5'10" woman, and my breasts were a 34A. It always felt really challenging for me. And I just wanted to fit into clothes. I wanted to feel more womanly. And I was not pressured by my husband. Truly, I could be 300 pounds without a chest or 100 pounds with whatever. It does not matter to my husband. I could have muscles or not, or be 4'10" or 6'4". He does not care. And so there's no requirement in my marriage to look a certain way, act a certain way, which I truly appreciate. And so there was no pressure from anyone. I just wanted a boost of confidence in shopping for clothing and just to feel comfortable in my body. And that was a decision I made. That's a decision I'm happy with. At the time, in 2014, I still had an eating disorder, and I didn't fully overcome the eating disorder for another 3 years. In the back of my mind, I definitely think that a part of the reason I was able to overcome an eating disorder is my body dysmorphia finally regulated when I got implants of okay, now that my breasts are bigger, I went from a 34A to a 36C, now I don't need to control my size of my body as much. I felt, and this is probably because I'm a kid growing up in the 90s, small boobs meant, a small waist. And so when I had, small breasts and not a small waist, it just felt weird. And so when I found this doctor who was recommended by somebody who I really trust, she just got me. She understood the assignment. We decided to go over the muscle, which I'm so thankful for. The procedure went really well. I recovered really well. And I was back to working out after a month or so. I was really into yoga at the time. I didn't have any complications. The scars healed really well. I really it was great. My overall experience was fabulous. There were no big issues. It was really good healing. And my breasts have served their purpose. I remember going shopping for the first time and clothes actually fit me because, I'm a medium large, 5'10" woman. And at the time, I think I was around 130 pounds, and I'm larger now. And clothes fit me. Oftentimes I would shop and the chest area would just be loose, and I was really self-conscious about it. And it really affected my day-to-day, and I don't regret it. Months later, I met with a doctor, a functional doctor, for probably the first time ever meeting with a functional doctor. And when I told him I had breast implants, he's like, 100%, that's why you're sick. That's why all this stuff is happening. You need to get them out immediately. And I'm like, I've kind of been sick for ever because I haven't eaten full meals. I full blown have an eating disorder, and I've had one since I was 12. I'm pretty sure that's the problem, not my breast implants. But around that time, I was put on thyroid medication because my thyroid was subpar, and I don't have any thyroid labs from before that time. So I don't actually know, did the breast implants affect my thyroid? I don't know the answer to that question. It's something that I'm definitely curious about now, deciding to get them removed, what that could look like moving forward. But it's not the main reason why I'm getting removal. Now, to kind of talk about some of the complications that can come up when we do get breast implants, I have not experienced any of these things, thank God. 20 to 25% of all implants will end up developing breast implant illness. Free silicone is a major issue via rupture or issues. And when there's free silicone in the body, it will cause autoimmunity, cancers, chemical sensitivities, immune vulnerability. Basically, the immune system gets filled with silicone. And in 2020, the FDA acknowledged that breast implant illness is very real. And in 2021, they added a black box warning, and informed consent is required when you get your breast implants installed, even when you're in the initial session, and they have to show the black box warning to you and discuss the issues with it. The reason, like, why now? Why 2025? If I just have a little capsular contracture, I could totally address it as I did previously. And I think it was 2019 or so when I had capsular contracture in the same breast, which is basically where the capsule around the breast implant, there's like a scar capsule that develops and it starts to tighten around the implant. And that's where oftentimes you see breast implants like look a little lopsided or harder, or they kind of sit higher up on the chest. That's a capsular contracture. And so what I did with it is a bunch of exercises and taping and ultrasound, and that worked fabulous. I would highly recommend, if you have breast implants and you have no interest in removing them and you're just in that headspace, definitely look for a place that can do that, because it made such a difference and it made my implants last another 6 years perfectly. But at the 7 to 10 year mark, there's a 40% rupture rate of breast implants. So thinking about free silicone being an issue, that it can develop into autoimmunity, cancer, chemical sensitivities, immune vulnerabilities. Like, I kind of played around with the idea, okay, so it's 2025. I've had my implants for 11 years. The rupture rate increases 10% every year that you have them beyond 10 years. So I'm playing a little Russian roulette here. What's the game here? So let's just say I get them removed and put another one in, and then they last another 10 years. Well, now I'm 50-ish. Okay. And then I get them removed and put back in. Now I'm 60-ish. At what point do I get off the train and say, you know what? Enough's enough. I would rather get off this train now, being healthy and strong and capable, and deal with the mental issues that we'll talk about in a little bit in this episode, than potentially having a rupture later on, like waiting or getting breast implant illness with another set. I don't want to play around with it. Now, when we get breast implants under the muscle, they actually cut the pec major, and scar tissue can massively develop through this and cause some major lymph issues. The thing that I think about when it comes to breast implants and why, like, a huge motivating factor other than the rupture situation, which is a very real thing. And I'm like, I would rather be in a situation where we take it out. It's nice and easy. There are no complications, as opposed to waiting until I have a rupture and then dealing with it. Breast implants sit in a lipo-rich glandular area. So when you explant, you have to remove the capsule, which can be stuck to the ribs. And you have to think, when these implants are in, they will cause issues to lymphatic glandular situations. 100%. I see it all the time. And so there are a bunch of reasons why I'm saying now is the time. I think the main ones are the rupture rate, the capsular contracture issue, silent leaks. Like, I don't even know what we're going to get into. Like, in the case of gummy bear implants, I mean, I could already have a rupture. I doubt it. There are imaging and options that you can do ahead of surgery to make sure that there isn't a rupture, and you can go into the surgery kind of knowing what the game plan is going to be. In my case, it doesn't really change the game plan whether there's a rupture or not. We're going to treat it like I do have a rupture and do a significant amount of work to get them out of the body safely. I closed down my coaching schedule all through the summer because I had quite a few clients who are graduating come the fall, and I just really wanted to focus on them. But now it's the fall and I've opened up my calendar again. So if you've been eating less, working out more, and still feeling inflamed, puffy, stuck, you're probably under eating. And I would love to help coach you through this, because when people are under fueled and overstressed, they're often trying hard and their bodies are just done. And what they really need is a Leanne to just hold their hand and take them through this next phase. And I would love nothing more. So if you want to learn more about what it's like coaching with me and you're tired of the eat less, move more lie, you can head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/coaching and apply to coach with me. I have macro coaching where we go through what you're eating and how you're moving, all the way to root cause coaching where we're going through blood work via functional blood chemistry, GI maps, functional testing, protocols, supplements, lifestyle, diet. I do it all and I would love to do it all with you. Again, that's healthfulpursuit.com/coaching. I think another big piece, and we'll talk about mindset, is my mindset has shifted. When I became a believer, I started noticing how even the most what I would consider innocent choices in my life had to do with seeing my body as a currency. And I think women, we do struggle with this because we're born understanding and bred understanding in some capacity that we get what we want, we get what we need based on how we look, how we perform. And so I think that there was a part of me that chose to get the implant so that I felt comfortable around other people. I know that there was. And I know that I've had family members say, like, are you sure you want to get these out because you got them so that you could be okay with your body, so that you wouldn't have an eating disorder. And now you don't have an eating disorder. If you get them out, are you going to have this body dysmorphia thing? Are you going to relapse? All the things. And if I just think back to the first couple of years with the implants, I remember being just as sick before as after the implants when it came to eating disorder stuff. And so I have to take a leap knowing that when I assess myself emotionally and psychologically, keeping them in is not an option because of the rupture. Getting a new one is like playing Russian roulette and like, when do I get off the train? So it only makes sense to deal with the quote unquote fallout now as opposed to later. I am a little bit curious if some of the issues that I've had with like neck tension, my thyroid, some of the sinus issues that I deal with have anything to do with the breast implants. I'm more curious. But if I get them removed and nothing changes, I'll be okay with that. Like, I'll totally be okay with that because again, that rupture issue is a serious issue. And right now I have a life without an autoimmune disease and I would prefer to keep it that way. And I do have a desire to simplify. I don't want foreign material in my body. I've removed all of my piercings. If I could go back and not get tattoos again, I probably would still get tattoos. I think having these symbols on my body of a life lived before Christ is fabulous. And I'm not sure I would change that. But when it comes to the decisions that I made previously and how my body shows up to the world around me, the breast implants are a part of a life that I no longer have. And yes, there is a concern like all my cute clothes that I've spent years, finding and enjoying won't fit me anymore. But I'll cross that bridge. Again, the man that I look to, I wouldn't even say impress, but just like look good for, could really care less. I think what's more important to him is that my mind is good and my emotions are good and my eyes are on Jesus. So if I'm making a decision that brings me more in line with that, then like, let's go. I talked a little bit about the decision of not replacing them. And I want to go through kind of why on that. Like if we just look at the chemical concerns of breast implants, like silicone is the largest chemical in breast implants, and it's very common in other medical products, and yet it's not been fully studied. Like biodegeneration, we don't know much about microbes and the enzymes that decompose silicone. Biotransference, we don't know about how it absorbs in the body very well. Biointegrity, we don't know how it influences the state of organisms in our body. And many of the breast implants out there actually have platinum and tin in them. And so platinum basically cross-links to make the shell durable of the implant. And we know that platinum can cause DNA alteration, allergic reactions. It can damage kidneys, intestines, hearing. It can disrupt magnesium and selenium levels. And interestingly, from as far back as I've tested, which is around 2014 when I really got into this with the functional doctor, I've always run low on magnesium and selenium, and I can supplement with it left, right, and sideways. So like there are a couple of things where I'm like, I would be stupid to get another set. Like that would just be dumb. Like I know enough. I've worked with enough individuals who have gotten implants and been sick. I've really lucked out with this set. I'm good. I crossed that bridge. We're good to go. Got the t-shirt. Tin is an inorganic form in the implants, and it may cause GI issues like diarrhea, nausea, pain. And then the organic form can cause confusion, dizziness, headaches, seizures, vision problems. And so I don't know, man. Like if we just think about silicone, even the main most abundant material in breast implants, silicone that ends in an N is naturally occurring. Silicone that ends in an E is man-made and toxic. The silicone that is the gel that makes up the implants, it's not a single substance. It's a fluid comprised of numerous different versions of silicone that are used to hold shape. And all breast implant shells are made of the synthetic silicone, which is an elastomer, which is part of it's very similar to a rubber, but it's made of silicone. And the outer shells of breast implants, both for the silicone and the saline implants, are made of the same silicone elastomer. So even the saline that they use contains silosanes. Is that how you say that? Silosanes? I think that's the name of them. And it can decrease natural killer cells by 50%. And it can allow mold, mycotoxins, and other microbes to grow. And the interesting thing is the shell is permeable, meaning that we can release everything in and out and pass through an intact shell. So this can then cause an immune response. And this is itself an endocrine disruptor. It's a neurological disruptor. It can affect infertility because of heavy metals. And also, where the implants are positioned can directly impact C1 and C2. I see this all the time. C1 and C2 are generally out of whack, and they are the thoracic center of the neck, which is connected to the GI tract. So sleep disturbances, endocrine balance, impaired digestion, respiratory issues, inflammation, GI issues, allergies, sensitivities, musculoskeletal pain, all of this is related to C1, C2, as is T cells and NK cells and immune balance, lymphatic balance. We can have HPA dysregulation, neurological impacts, liver issues, methylation disruption. So all of this is impacted by C1, C2, which is generally impacted when you have artificial breasts over that area. Yeah, so that sucks. And when we start to see breast implant illness take hold, sometimes it's a couple of weeks after installation, sometimes it's a couple of years, sometimes it's after a rupture. Oftentimes it starts with brain fog or CNS issues, connective tissue issues, dryness of kidneys, lungs, mouth, eyes, hair loss, headaches, incapacitating fatigue, allergies, aches, pains, night sweats, nerve issues, skin issues, sunlight sensitivity, swollen lymph nodes. Like the list goes on and on and on and on. It's basically silicone toxicity. Like if I could like put it together, if you Google silicone with an E at the end, toxicity, that basically lists breast implant illness symptoms. And breast implant illness individuals have been likely diagnosed with things like Epstein-Barr, Hashimoto's, lupus, Lyme, mycotoxin illness, rheumatoid arthritis, Sjögren's syndrome. And yet, is it these issues or is it the presence of the toxins in the implants that wake up these issues? Nobody knows. I mean, oftentimes I'll see that ANA is high. Abnormal labs aren't like specific to breast implant illness, but there are patterns that I see oftentimes. But I would say to assess clinically what's going on, breast MRIs can look at the implant integrity, specifically breast implant MRI. You can look for silicone-induced granuloma, and that's helpful too. A thermogram will show areas of congestion and inflammation, and I've gotten those many times, and my practitioner's like, it's your implants. I'm telling you, you got these out and you'll have no more neck pain. And so I'm definitely curious on what this will look like. Yet again, even if nothing changes, what will change is that I don't have them in my body anymore. And for sure, I'm nervous. I think probably the biggest thing that I'm nervous about, and it seems really stupid, but I have to be out of the gym for 6 weeks. I don't love that idea. It's going to be hard for me to not move my body for 6 weeks for sure. But I think bigger than that is like I've said to many of the doctors, I've met with many, many, many doctors to find somebody who I trusted to take these out. And I've said, like, I don't want to look mutilated. When you choose to get the full capsule out intact, generally speaking, the scar has to be a lot bigger. And because I went from an A to a C, my breast tissue stretched out significantly. And a thing that I have gone back and forth on, and I haven't fully decided yet, like I'm recording this episode in September. I'm not entirely sure where I will end up with this. And if you have feedback on this and experience, I would love to hear from you at Leanne Vogel on Instagram, and we can just chat about it, is whether or not to get a breast lift with the implant removal. I've gone back and forth on this. The breast lift will require far more scarring, far more cutting, far more everything. My concern is that if I see deflated bags on my chest for a year, it's going to affect me mentally. But my concern is on the flip side of it is if I get it all cut up, am I going to be okay seeing all those scars and all those things for the rest of my life? I don't think, like I've sat with this. I've been thinking about this for 3 years, like 3 years, until I even started looking at doctors. And then it took me about 6 months to find the right doctor. I don't have a worry about regret of taking them out. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more just like, how do I set myself up with either a breast lift or not so that I can feel the best with the decision that I made? Because the decision has been made. I'm getting them out. Now it's just, do I want a lift where there's going to be more scars, or do I just want to see what my body does with the extra skin and how it works? Because I've seen amazing pictures of women who just let their body do what their body does and it tightens up in all the right places and it looks fine, or I don't. Now, the original scar from the original surgery will be lower down on my chest or like over my ribs, and then there'll be a second set of scars. I mean, do I regret this overall, knowing that now my chest is going to be a bunch of scars? I think if I really delve deep into it, probably a little bit, but like, it's hard to know what I'm going to feel like in a year post-surgery of the decision that I made. I'm definitely looking forward to what my workouts and like physical capacity is going to be, because these guys do get in the way quite a lot. And I would be lying if I told you that I'm not concerned about how my body image is going to shift, because I do have quite a large rib cage. And when I don't have breasts, my ribs are bigger than my breasts. And because I'm a lot leaner now than I was in the past, even I'm a heavier weight, but a lot of it's muscle. I'm concerned of how that's going to look proportionally. For sure. For sure I am. Like, I would be lying if I said, no, I'm totally good. I don't even care. No, that would be a lie. And I think I'm okay with that uncertainty, because I know that I'll walk through that with my husband and it'll be okay. It's just going to take some time. And I recognize that this is part of a bigger journey of health and authenticity for me, to just get back to the body that God intended me to have. And I'm thankful that I get to make this decision and that I got to find a doctor. And I was like, money is not an option. I want to find the best doctor who can do the best job, who respects my wishes. And I'm thankful that I got to have that approach, because I have worked with many women who don't have that option and don't have the option to even remove, because it's far too costly. In fact, to get them removed, it's about double the price of getting them installed. So there's that. I would say I really want to highlight that I don't think that implants are bad. Like many women get them and do well. I did. I have friends that have, and it brings them joy and like, great. There are real risks and real unknowns. And when I just look at that step by step by step, I'm not willing to take that risk again over something that could go sideways because I've said, like, this is the last time I want to go under the knife. This is the last time I want to do this. And that's why when it comes to the decision around should I get a lift or not, a lot of doctors said, we'll give it a year. And if you don't like it, we'll do something about it. And I'm like, man, I do not even want to do this ever again. Like, I'm done after this. I just want my chest to heal. I want it to be okay again. And so, yeah, I think that listening to my body is absolutely key. And my intuition has said for the last little bit, like, it's time. It's time now. It's time. Let's find a doctor. Let's keep going. And I know that the healing, I'm thinking about doing IV therapies and all those things. And that's good to prepare my body and detox after I get them out and all that stuff. I think it's going to be just as a physical of a healing as it will be a mental, emotional, spiritual healing. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned through this process is that breast implants aren't always a problem for people. And I want to be super clear on that. Like, I personally healed really well. I didn't have any major complications. And for years, I was so grateful for the confidence that they gave me and just the comfortability that I had in my body and bathing suits, and shopping is so fun. And the more and more individuals that I was working with in my practice that have breast implant illness and women sharing stories and how implants had impacted their health over time. Not everyone has that experience. Like, that wasn't my experience, but people do have real issues with ruptures and leaking and capsular contracture, where that scar tissue starts to harden around the implant, chronic pain, inflammation, autoimmune conditions, like changes in breast shape, and even quote unquote simple things that people can't pinpoint, like fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, hair loss, thyroid issues, sinus issues, like all of this now classified under breast implant illness. It's a real thing. And if you're thinking about getting implants, you should really, really look into it and make a conscious choice, a very conscious choice on what you're doing. Because I'm sure the doctor said, hey, these are good for 10 years. You're going to have to get the surgery again. And I'm like, la, 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 not listening, or, those sorts of things. But I know the doctor didn't say, hey, this is going to likely cause silicone toxicity. It can affect all these things. You can be dealing with all these problems. Are you sure you want to get this? I don't know. Maybe I would have thought a little bit more. I don't know yet if my thyroid, neck, or sinus issues are directly connected to my implants, but a big part of my decision is basically I want to get off this train because they got to come out. I do not want another pair in. Like, I do not even want to play around with that. I do not want to play around with that. And so then it becomes, okay, so we're getting them out. Who do we want to use? What do we want to do? How do we want to do this? Now, I know for certain that I have not shared publicly that I have implants because I didn't feel like it was anyone's business. And it was a decision that I made at 28. And it was very much the best decision for me at the time that I had. It wasn't a quick decision. I think if you're considering implants, go in super informed. Don't cut corners. Don't choose the cheapest doctor. If you already have them, know your options. Like, I would say that explant isn't an option when you have drainage pathway issues, when you have mitochondrial issues, when you have pretty big co-infections or parasite issues or toxins or immune system issues. Like, lymph work is everything. Myofascial release, lymph drainage. Like, if you were just diagnosed for, say, lipedema, now is not the time to like also get explant removal. Lean is a unique peptide-driven formula focused on helping women regulate hunger, reduce visceral fat, and stabilize insulin without wrecking hormones. Unlike GLP-1 drugs, which force appetite suppression and often lead to muscle loss, lean supports leptin signaling, ghrelin balance, and glucose metabolism naturally. Clinical results show up to a 10% reduction in fat mass with no impact on lean tissue. The peptides in lean also support mitochondrial biogenesis and metabolic rate, important for women navigating hormonal fluctuations. Here's what Rena, age 47, had to say. I felt more in control of my hunger even during the luteal phase. I lost 9 pounds, but more importantly, I finally broke my plateau without burnout. If your body feels stuck, like it's working against you, lean is the signal reset for your body. You can click the link in the show notes to reclaim your metabolism with science that works for women, or go to healthfulpursuit.com/make. Now, every order, if you set up a subscription, you're going to get 10% off for the first couple of months and 20% off ongoing after your third month. And all of my customers receive my personal phone number where we can text back and forth and talk about the impact that these peptides are having on your fat metabolism, your hormones, and your appetite. Again, that's healthfulpursuit.com/make, or check out the show notes for the link. So when it comes to the preparation of implant removal and how to prepare your body for it, it's not just a matter of book the surgery, let's go in next week. It's September now. I have about 3 months to get my body into a place where it's ready for this. And I will be taking you through what that looks like, what I'm doing, how I'm supporting it. But I would say, like, this journey needs to start at least 6 months before removal. Now, I'm coming into this having done parasite cleanses every other full moon. My gut is good. My hormones are as good as they can be given where I'm at in my life. And so I would just encourage you, if you're thinking about removal, that you look at a couple of resources to understand like what that looks like. I would encourage you to look for somebody that does a full capsule removal, making sure that the full capsule is removed. You want it to be removed all in one. Many people call this a precise capsulectomy or an en bloc. En bloc isn't like totally the way that it should be described, because en bloc really means the removal of all, which would also be breast tissue. So it's not totally what it is. But if you say precise capsulectomy or en bloc, people will know what you mean. You definitely do not want to keep the capsule in your body. And that will likely mean that with that removal all at once, that a larger cut will need to be made in order to get the implant out. I think that's all I want to cover today. I'm just going through my notes because I kind of went rogue. So here's kind of the timeline that I'll be following. So this episode's going to go live mid-October. I'm planning to get my implants out mid-December. So my goal, if I'm able to breathe and like do deep breaths after surgery, I'm planning on doing an episode on breast implant removal prep, my plan before and after surgery. Because like I said, it's a pretty epic quest to get them out and prepare your body for it well. Like the doctor says, you're going to be down for 6 weeks. My goal is 4. I think that that's totally acceptable if I do the right things and stay on top of stuff. And so I want to take you through what that looks like, how I'm preparing, what options I've chosen. So hopefully I'll take you through that at the end of December once I've gone through the surgery. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think what I said in that this is just as equally a physical recovery as it is an emotional, psychological, spiritual recovery. And I will have so much more to share on that once I've gone through the recovery. So I'll probably do a part 3 on like my thoughts about this and what I did wrong and what I would do differently, because that's usually the way of it. I mean, I've read so many resources. I've delved deep into this for clients and now for myself. So I have a lot of thoughts on how to prepare the body, the decision to make, and all the things. I'm thankful I'm going into this not with an urgent, oh my goodness, we need to get this out right away situation. Even when I found the doctor, they had an appointment 3 weeks from then. They had a cancellation. They're like, do you want this cancellation? I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not mentally and physically ready for this. I know that I'm ready to have them taken out, but I need more time to just process all that's about to happen, because just as it was such a big change having them in, I keep saying like installed because it's very much what it feels like. It's going to be a process of unraveling when I get them removed. And I just need to sit with that. I need to pray on it. I need to trust God with this, be thankful for the time that I had, not regret the time that I had. I think that's really important. When we do better, when we learn better and we're like, hey, you know what? Probably wasn't the best choice. I never want to be to a place where it's like, wow, I really regret that. I wish I would have done differently. There's one decision that I've made that I regret. And maybe one day I'll share that with you, but this is not one of them. I think this is going to make me stronger and better in the long run, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and heck, maybe it'll mean that I can even do a push-up, because let me tell you, these girls, they get in the way. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode and something I shared in here was helpful for you. And if you have something hurtful to say or something that you think would affect me, maybe just don't share it. But if you want to have a conversation around breast lifts and decisions around that, I would love to hear your story about explant and breast lifts. I've read a whole bunch. I'm still on the fence about it. And so I would love to just have dialogue with anyone out there that has some opinions. So hit me up on Instagram at Leanne Vogel, and I will see you back here for another episode soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.